right, so what are you making today, Rhiannon?
I'm making my favorite summer rice. I throw in some herbs from my garden, some rice, some onion. It's a perfect side dish to go with anything you want to make, basically. And it's really, really easy, comes together in about 20 minutes. So starting off, I've got everything I need here ready to go. I've got my onion, I've got some rice. I use like a basmati or Texmati rice, but you can also use quinoa if you want to go low glycemic. You can play with brown rice too, it just cooks longer. I've got a little bit of olive oil, some salt, and of course, my pot. It's gonna go cook it all nicely on the stove. So to start off, let's go ahead and measure everything into the pot. We're gonna put it in there together, stir it up, bring it to a boil, and simmer it for about 15 minutes. I need a cup of rice. And if you're using a different type of rice, you want to check the package to see how much water you need, because that will vary. I need 1 3/4 cup of water based on this rice. Add that to it. I'm going to take a small sweet onion, and I'm using this really great gadget that I just totally dig. It's called the Chop Wizard, and so it eliminates a lot of cooking time. I don't have to get out my cutting board, my knife, and chop an onion perfectly, which can be fun, I'll give you that, but there's times when I just want to go fast. So I've got my onion cut in half and peeled. I'm going to stick it right on top. Voila! Take the other half, stick it on top. Done. Cool thing about this also, you can measure and see how much of the item that you just chopped you have. So if I need a half a cup of an onion or a cup of an onion, or in this case, it looks like I've got about a cup. Great, perfect, done. So I'm going to take the whole onion and stick it in because I really love the flavor. I'm just going to add that right in there. Perfect. Some people hate cutting onions. Yeah, I do that sometimes. That's okay. Perfect. Great. It's not that bad. We're doing awesome. Okay, I'm going to add a little bit of salt. I will season this once it's done, but I still like to cook it with a little bit of salt. It helps the water to boil a little bit faster. And a touch of olive oil. You can use butter in this dish. I prefer olive oil. I think it's a little bit healthier option, but just to give it a little bit more flavor. So I'll just do a squidge of olive oil. Okay, so I turn my water on the stove onto high. I want to bring this to a boil. It's going to boil pretty quickly because there's not a ton of ingredients in the pan. And then I'm going to turn the temperature down to low and simmer it for about 15 minutes. Again, you're going to want to check the rice that you're using specifically. This is a basmati rice. It cooks really quickly. So 15 minutes. It'll sit for 5. While it's sitting, I'll chop up some fresh herbs. We'll mix it all together and have a fragrant and delicious side dish. Okay, this is boiling. I'm going to go ahead and put the lid on and then turn this down. I'm going to turn it all the way down to low. Make sure that it's still lit, and then let this go for about 15 minutes. We'll come back, let it sit for a couple of minutes, soak up all that water, and add herbs. If you're using quinoa, quinoa is great because it cooks pretty quickly also. You would do the exact same thing. Add all of your ingredients, cook it for about 15 minutes just until the water is absorbed by the quinoa, and then add your herbs. Same thing, but low glycemic. Okay, so our rice is finished cooking. Took about 15 minutes. I let it sit for about 5 and then just kind of fluffed it. It's all cooked with the onion. I'm going to dump it into this bowl and we're going to add some herbs, season it with a little salt and pepper, and it's done. Okay, I've got a handful of tarragon from my herb garden and some baby dill. You can use whatever herbs you have. These are my preferences for this dish just because I love tarragon. It's a really fun flavor. And the baby dill, it's delicious. I've used parsley, I've used basil, I've used oregano, whatever. So we're going to go ahead and pull the tarragon leaves off. There we go. Okay, there's my nice pile of tarragon. I've also got my baby dill. Mix that in here. So I've got a pile. You want to start with a sharp knife. This one could be sharper. We're going to make it work. Make sure your fingers stay out of the way. I'm holding my knife and I've got my left hand on top. And I'm just chopping away. Okay, I'm going to add them to my rice. I've got tarragon, I've got dill, I've got my serving spoon. Go ahead and mix those in. I like lots of fresh herbs to go with the onion. Now we added olive oil to our rice as it was cooking, so it has a little bit more flavor, which is really nice. Oh, wish you had smell-o-vision for this. And to season it, I do add a little bit of salt and pepper. That's just pretty much up to what you prefer. I'm a fan of fresh ground pepper. And sea salt is my preference. So I'll add a little bit of salt. Oh yeah, perfect. Okay, mix that in, and this is ready to go. Check that out.